There's this big talk about how Steam is a monopoly. All right. What people don't seem to realize is Steam is a monopoly because of the position that they had in the market, right? They're also a monopoly because they're very pro-consumer. So people choose them. It's not that there's not any competition, because there is. There's the Epic Game Store. There's itch.io. There's Hubble Game. There's a bunch of different platforms to buy games on for Steam, right? Right? So, when people choose one platform to go to over all these other platforms, that means that Steam has set the standard in the market, and these other platforms have failed to rise to that standard to meet the consumer's expectations. Steam is not a monopoly because they're buying their competition, which is what a monopoly does. Google. Steam is a monopoly because they've been chosen to be one by the consumers. It's that simple. So, let's get into this.
Is getting sued and we're the ones that are paying for it. Doesn't that just sound fantastic? Don't
Yes.
you just love the direction that things are going in right now?
Is it
Video
too
games
low,
are
chat?
being invaded by a bunch of people.
It seems a little too low. Let me turn this up. I found the extension, by the way. Finally. That other one, garbage. This one, goated. Finally found the extension that I wanted. I'll boost it up 200 to 200. Let's see.
People that don't care about games, don't know anything about them, but will do everything they can to pretend like they represent you just to be able to gain leverage and control over your hobby and ultimately you. Right now, Steve...
Are y'all seeing how this is doing? What? I'm hitting the full screen. Hello? All right, hold on. Reload. What's going on here?
Steve is getting sued and we're the ones that are paying for it. Doesn't that just sound fantastic? Don't you just love the direction that things
this is
are
how we're
going in
watching
right
it.
now? Video games are being invaded by a bunch of people that don't care about games, don't know anything about them, but will do everything they can to pretend like they represent you just to be able to gain leverage and control over your hobby and ultimately you. Right now, Steam is...
Yeah, if you guys don't remember, a few months ago, or like maybe summer last year, there was this group of like Australian women that came out, and oh man, what was it called? Hold on. Steam under attack by Australian women. I don't know how else to phrase it. Australian Spark. Yeah, this was about the censorship of games. Collective shout. So they were going after the sex games, right? And look, man, I don't care for these sex games that come out. I don't care for sex in games. I don't care for sex in shows. I think all it does is detract from the overall story, really, especially when it's not built up. It's just like, oh, let's just dump into it. Like, whatever, bro, right? But you can't just take away these games, right? Because what that does is it leads to a slippery slope. Oh, we don't like this game because it has this in it. Okay, well, now we don't like shooters because it has guns in it. It's a slippery slope. Once you start banning one thing, then they're going to go for the next thing. It's the same situation. You give an inch, they'll take a mile. Or for my non-imperial using friends, you give them a meter, they'll take a kilometer.
Under fire, forget this. Ripping off their customers by overcharging for games. I learned something new every single day. They're apparently...
Wait, what? Spielberg edited E.T. to replace the guns with walkie-talkies? What? No way. Steven how do you even spell this idiot's name? Spielberg. E.T. walkie. I gotta look this up. Talkies. What? No way. What? You can imagine a mother having said, no, you're not going as a What? Wait. Those are actually the words that the mother in the movie E.T. the extraterrestrial says to her son, or at least that is what she used to say when Steven Spielberg's family classic gets its 20th anniversary re-release in March, that line will be gone? No, I did not know that. The last time I watched E.T., I was a little kid, actually. I haven't watched it in a long time. I didn't even know it was made by Steven Spielberg. In a sense, Spielberg is following the lead of George Lucas, who digitally altered his original Star Wars trilogy when the films were re-released in 1997 in special editions. Those changes included the insertion of a computer-generated Jabba the Hutt in the first Star Wars. Wait, what? I didn't even know that that George Lucas changed it. Will be a special. Okay, so wait a minute. There's no comparison because George went in and he redid the whole scenes and sequences, she said. In contrast, E.T. was receiving a wide variety of subtle changes. That is crazy. Let's see. As for the walkie-talkie, that has been planned for years. The gun removal is not another example of what Kennedy considers some film. Wait, what? Finally admits walkie-talkies were a mistake. Oh, he even says that they were a mistake. Interesting. I did not know he did that. I really didn't. Huh. All right, let's get back into this.
Representing 14 million UK gamers, which I would love to meet some of these people because I'm having a very hard time believing that any of them exist. And they're suing Steam to the tune of over $900 million, which is just the initial payout.
I didn't know that.
The financial repercussions of this are going to shake the company down to its core. All the changes that they're going to need to make. And of course,
this
all
is
of
crazy.
This is being supported by everybody's favorite guy in gaming, Tim Sweeney. So,
by the way, so I found this out. These 14 million people, right, that he's talking about in this video, apparently in the UK and in the US as well, don't know about anywhere else, these people can follow a class action lawsuit on your behalf. You have to go and opt out of the lawsuit. So apparently this is like a meta in IRL, right, to get money. So what people do is they start these lawsuits, find anything, put you in there, say that you're one of the affected 14 million, and then if you never claim the money, then they will eventually get the payout on for your leftover payout. Yeah, it did happen with Facebook, but I didn't know that these people could just pull you into the class action lawsuit. They could just pull your name. That's stupid.
You know these guys are on the right track. These people, they represent no
That's what this case is, by the way, in the UK. That's why I talked about all that.
one. Their entire position is based on the idea that Steam is just too successful. They're too good. They're too good at what they do. They have too many customers. They make too much money. They don't spend enough of that money wasting it on a bunch of people that they don't need. The company is far too efficient.
Yeah.
Essentially, this company is suffering from success. That is what this
Literally, Steam has been the definition of sit back, do nothing, just watch. Literally.
lawsuit is for. And what they want to do is they want to punish Steam, make
True.
them change their ways, and then force us onto platforms and onto storefronts that don't deserve our money. Nobody.
He mentioned Tim Sweeney. Sorry, forgot to mention this. I know I keep pausing. It's only like a minute and a half. He mentioned Tim Sweeney. Tim Sweeney, for those of you that do not know, is the CEO of Epic Games, okay? This guy is a greedy person. That's the best way I could put it. He's very greedy. The reason I say that is because, one, he has Fortnite. Arguably top 10 most played games in the world for how many years now, right? 2, owns Unreal Engine, the most widely available and used game development software in the world. Plain and simple. And he wants more people to come to his platform and buy games on Epic Games because he can't get enough money. Bro, you already have 2 infinite money glitches, and you want a 3rd, and you don't want Steam to even have 1. Isn't Unreal free, though? I think let me see. I don't think so. Is Unreal Engine 5 free? It's free to download. It comes fully loaded, production ready, out of the box with every feature in full. Okay, so for most projects, including learning, internal development, custom client work, film. Okay, that earn under 1 million USD in lifetime gross revenue. Ah, royalty applies only after 1 million in revenue. If your game or product earns more than 1 million USD in gross revenue, you owe Epic Games a 5% royalty on the amount above that threshold. Okay. Interesting. So there you go. I think Unreal Engine, I think a lot of these game development engines do come with free assets already. And there's also other free assets out there. But obviously a studio that's AAA, like for example, Witcher 4 is being developed on Unreal Engine 5. They're going to have to pay this 5% royalty fee for sure. Right? And let's be real. Epic is going to make a lot off of that royalty fee because it's The Witcher. And The Witcher is a massive franchise.
Nobody is talking about this from the customer's perspective. Who would have guessed? Because it seems like nobody ever wants to ever include us in this kind of conversation. None of these guys are asking why people even use Steam. Nobody's talking about how Steam protects their customers.
Literally.
No, they just see this as an opportunity to take down or to attack one of the very few allies that we still have left in this industry.
Yeah.
So today I want to talk about why Steam is getting sued, the repercussions of this, and also for all the talk of competition, we're the ones that are getting screwed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Before I see it in the comment section, I will proudly...
So let's sue because we fail to meet the market standards, right? We fail to meet the market standards. So let's sue to bring these guys down to our standards and make the entire market worse.
Declare myself a shill for Steam. I love the platform. I love what it's done for games.
Me
And
too.
yeah, these guys are the progenitor of loot boxes, and they've absolutely had their hands in some shady business when it comes to Counter-Strike gambling, but you take the good with the bad, and in Steam's case, there's a hell of a lot more good than bad, so much so that I think that you would be hard-pressed to find any players who genuinely have a problem with the platform itself, which is why I have been completely caught off guard when I saw that there was news that Steam is being hit with a class action lawsuit.
Yeah,
on
this is
behalf of
crazy.
14 million UK gamers claiming that Valve is abusing their market dominance.
Keep in mind that 14 million, again, people they just randomly pulled into this class action lawsuit. Just random people. And they have to go and opt out of it.
It's to make players pay too much for games. That claim alone does not make any sense to me because, well, the most common complaint
that is a wild claim.
Prices. It's people
like I could
back.
understand if they said something about the loot boxes or the gambling that Steam has done, but they're going after Steam for saying that they have unfair prices. Bro, Steam has a sale like every week. There's like a sale every week on games.
Logs because of how affordable they make games, especially indie games, after a lot of these endless sales. The lawsuit is being pushed under a campaign called Steam You Owe Us. I'm not exactly sure who us is supposed to be in this conversation, but sure. But the case is being led by Vicky Shotbolt, a self-described advocate for children's digital rights. And oh, wouldn't you know it, she was also a key player and on the executive board.
I would like to see that data too, Canadian.
Online Safety Act, the same legislation that gutted online privacy and freedom of expression.
Wait, she was behind the Online Safety Act as well, or like she was one of the people in favor of it? No way, bro.
And guys, you know what? Between this and games getting censored thanks to
this is called career Karen. Career Karen.
Collective shout, we are absolutely at war with Karens right now. Aaron
literally.
Tom's Hardware reported on the details of Valve's lawsuit, writing, Valve's dominance in the PC gaming market has put it squarely in the sights of a UK activist who thinks that Valve is charging Steam gamers and developers too much money for games distributed on the platform. BBC reports that Valve is being hit with a $903 million lawsuit for abusing its market dominance.
Okay, what I also don't understand about this, right, is, UK activist who thinks Valve is charging Steam gamers and developers too much money. Okay, first of all, Steam gamers, one. The company, for example, Neo 3, right? Neo 3 is coming out very soon. They have listed the game for $70. That is the publisher and the development studio doing that, right? That's them putting that there, saying, hey, this is what we're going to charge $70. Steam is just the storefront. Sure, Valve takes a cut of the sale, of every individual sale, 30%, right? But it is up to the publisher and the developer to put the price on their game when it goes on the storefront of Steam. It's that simple. Doesn't it cost like $100 or something? I think. Hold on, let me see. How much does it cost to post a game on Steam? Oh, publish a game. Yeah, here we go. Publishing a game on Steam requires a one-time $100 Steam Direct fee per game. The fee is non-refundable upfront, but is refunded once your game earns $1,000 in gross revenue from Steam sales or in-app purchases. Free-to-play games still require the $100 fee. The fee applies regardless of whether the game is paid or free. You also pay a 30% revenue share on all sales and in-game purchases, which decreases for high-earning titles.
By digital rights campaigner Vicky Shotbolt. If she wins, all 14 million UK Steam gamers could be compensated, and similar lawsuits could likely hit Valve in other countries.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The lawsuit instigated by Shotbolt claims that Valve is prohibiting games sold on its Steam platform from being sold on other distribution platforms that might charge less.
I agree. Bro, basically it's a safety deposit, right? If you have a good game, I mean, obviously, like as an indie developer, you'll never know if you won't know, right? You won't know if your game is going to make $1,000 or not as an indie developer. But for most of these guys that come out here and post these games, right, which is I'm talking about AAA, AA type of deals, right? This $100, you're going to make this back in like 5 minutes, bro. You're going to get that $100 back in 5 minutes and some. And there is no such thing as Steam exclusive. No, I don't think I've ever seen a Steam. Okay. Not true. I have seen Steam exclusive. No. How? Hold on. Where to download HighGuard? I actually only know HighGuard is on Steam. I don't know where else you could play it. Steam, PlayStation 5, and Xbox. Okay, so it's not Steam. It's not Steam what exclusive because it's on the other stuff, but it is only on Steam. And it makes sense because that's where most players are on PC.
For the same games. Valve is also being charged with allegedly imposing anti-steering provisions based on its in-game purchasing model where PC game add-ons or DLC only work through Steam if the base game was purchased through Steam.
Okay, well, I'm not very smart. I might have a business degree, but I'm not very smart. Anti-steering provisions. Define anti-steering provisions. What does that mean? Anti-steering clause means a provision in a contract that restricts the ability of a carrier to direct or steer an enrollee to obtain healthcare service from a healthcare. Wait, this is about healthcare? That restrict one party from encouraging another party to use specific products, services, or providers, often to prevent competition-based incentives. Oh, okay. It just used healthcare as a thing. So in digital, such as app stores, anti-steering provisions prevent platform gatekeepers. Example, Apple, Google from restricting business users. Example, app developers from directing customers to alternative payment methods or platforms outside the ecosystem, such as offering cheaper subscription options via their own website. What? This doesn't even apply to Steam. I've never had a pop-up where like it says, "Hey, you can't buy this. You have to buy this from here." Whenever I like okay, for example, I remember this very specifically with Rainbow Six Siege when I played the game. When I was buying cosmetics for that game, I would like go to the store in the game. I would click on the thing that I want, and it would open up the Steam overlay, and it would take me to the Steam page. But it also told me that I could go to the Ubisoft page and pay there too. But it was the same price, so it made no difference to me.
Finally, Valve is also being charged for charging consumers too
much.
Much
a bookstore is just a carrier.
Excessive
exactly
like
charges.
Steam. Okay, I'm sorry, but what? The idea that Valve is somehow using anti-steering based on its in-game purchasing model because of DLC and microtransactions that don't work on anywhere other than Steam, that has nothing to do with Valve. That's how every single platform works.
Literally.
If I buy DLC on PlayStation, I can't use it on Xbox or Steam. If I buy that DLC on Xbox, I can't use it on Steam or PlayStation. The same.
And I would even argue that the console, Sony and Microsoft, they're even more willing, or not, even less willing, to let you off of their platform than Steam is. What?
Goes for Epic. That's not a Valve policy. That's just basic platform separation. And now, sure, I would love it for all digital purchases to be multi-platform. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
that'd be
everybody
awesome.
would, but that's a question of game infrastructure, not platform control. These guys have no idea how video games even work or how any of these storefronts even work. That
Career
responsibility sits with
Karen.
the developers, not the storefronts.
Yeah,
We
Nintendo
already
is
know
way more
that's
strict,
possible
true.
because there's plenty of games that use account-based systems where they track your ownership regardless of platform. You just log in and all that content carries over the same way you use like mobile games and you can log into your phone or to your PC or to your video game console or whatever else. But that's something that's not universal. That's not all over the place. I mean, you can go ahead and sue game makers, but you can't sue Valve over that. Then there's the excessive commission charges argument, which honestly reads like it was something that was just ghostwritten by Tim Sweeney. Valve charges 30%. That is the exact same cut as Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, mobile platforms. Hell, even GOG charges that much.
Wow, really? GOG charges that much? Hold on, run that back one more time. Oh, I didn't know Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo also charged 30%. I know the Apple Store did, and I knew Steam did. I didn't know it was also the console platforms. Oh, okay. I mean, then this is fine. What are we talking about here? GOG even tosses 30%. You know how many times I've bought Minecraft because it doesn't transfer? Yeah, it's so stupid. And then plus there's the JavaScript version and then the other one. I forget which one.
No mobile platforms. Hell, even GOG charges that much. The only real outliers that we have is the Microsoft Store that nobody uses and the Epic Games Store,
literally.
which also nobody uses. So why is Steam being singled out here? Why not just sue the entire industry? It's almost like you're just targeting Valve for another reason. Oh, that's because that's exactly what you're doing.
Yep.
This isn't about commission rates. It's about the fact that Valve is too profitable for how little regulators think they should be allowed to make. They even try to point this out.
Skyrim too,
Valve's efficiency, roughly $50 million per revenue for employee, is evidence of their wrongdoing instead of their competence. That sentiment shows up when they point out the Wolfire Games case, which Steam is also actively in right now, where they say Valve invests a minuscule portion of its revenue into improving and maintaining the Steam store.
Really? Reinvest? So wait a minute. This is the equivalent, right, of getting your paycheck, yeah? And then being told, oh, you reinvest too much money or whatever, you do XYZ with your money and I don't like it. So now Valve is getting told what they can and can't do with their money? Are we serious? Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is a lot of re-releases there for Skyrim, bro. I'm telling you. Bethesda, I think, is creatively bankrupt. I don't want to go on that tangent because I want to keep this shorter than it already is, but yeah.
With very few personnel allocated to the Steam Store business
development, literally.
Support and
that's what it does sound like.
Competing stores genuinely offer superior infrastructure and support despite their much smaller market.
Remember what I said? Here is the standard that the consumer has come to expect. Here is every other competitor. They fail to rise to this. So now we need to sue and say, hey, you're doing too good with the money that you have. You need to come down to our standard and make the entire market worse. What?
Share. Yeah, okay, and those stores suck, so what does that say about them if they can't accomplish a fraction of what Valve does while operating with far more people, more money burned, and vastly worse results? Steam is the most well-supported platform in the entire industry, bar none, and it's not even close. It is loaded with features that nobody else has. Steam Play Together.
Kanani, I want to save your message. I'm going to pin that because I want to talk about something after this video, all right, that I had this thought, and I think you guys will like it.
Integrated modding through the workshop, direct player feedback through game-specific forums and reviews, discovery tools, visibility tools,
there's a lot.
Sales, refunds that actually work and happen.
You know how many games I found because of my Steam queue? You know how many games I found that are like small because of my Steam queue? When I played Fortnite just for fun, I would go on the Epic Games Store and it's like, bro, I'm like scrolling Hulu. There's no really suggestions. There's nothing. I have AAA. There's no like indie game, bro, on Epic Games Store. Oh, and then the review, it's like a button. Oh, this game has great accessibility. Oh, this game has cool graphics. Those are the reviews, bro. And you have to press them. There's no like actual critique.
Almost instantly,
I'm not saying that all the Steam reviews are critiques, because there are some out there that are just straight up hate, right? But at least the freedom is there for the consumer to give critique.
just keep going on and on. If this is what...
Good question. Good question. How much does it cost to publish a game to... Oh, right there on Epic Games. Let's see. One-time fee of $100 per game. The fee is non-refundable, unlike Steam's $100 fee, which is refunded once the game earns $1,000 in gross revenue. No way. Okay, 12% commission on sales, though, so 18% less than Steam, but still. You don't get the $100 back? Come on, bro.
Underinvesting looks like, then the rest of the industry should be absolutely embarrassed. Man, you guys are a bunch of losers. So let me get this straight. Sorry, you're too successful. You're too efficient. You provide too good of a service. And because you're so good at what you do, we need to sue you over it. How is that even a coherent complaint?
Yeah, like...
You know what, Gabe? I hope you're watching this video on a boat somewhere right now, which good for you, man. I would stay the hell away from the rest of society, too, if I was you. But
that's what I'm saying,
go ahead
yeah.
And bring up this video in court because it is pretty easy to prove that none of their arguments make any sense. I mean, their key argument is that the commission rates from Steam are inflating game prices inorganically, but that collapses the second that it touches reality. I mean, the first three games that pushed prices to $70 back in 2020 was NBA 2K 2021, Demon's Souls Remake, and Black Ops Cold War. None of those games launched on Steam. And here we are now years later, and, well, we have an $80 game, but that's Mario Kart World, a Nintendo exclusive. Yep. If Steam is supposedly inflating prices, then why does every single Nintendo and PlayStation exclusive cost $70 by default?
Do these people seriously think, like, oh, hey, let's go to the publisher and be like, hey, you got to charge this much. You have to charge this much. Okay? Like, that's not happening.
I mean, these guys then try to back up that argument saying that they don't allow developers to charge lower prices on other platforms.
I don't know.
Pressuring them to offer the same deals or risk being removed from Steam, except according to Steam's own policy, this only applies to Steam keys, which makes perfect sense. Steam takes zero commission from Steam keys. They allow you to go sell those keys elsewhere if you want to, but they don't want you undercutting the price on their own storefront using those keys that cost them money to distribute and support. So why would any company want to use their infrastructure, distribute keys, and then have you undercut them and also screw over their own users?
You think Epic Games is going to let you do that? You think Xbox is going to let you do that? You think PlayStation will let you do that? Nintendo? Who else? Who else? Take-Two? Really? None of these companies are going to let you do that.
You know what, guys?
And you know what's crazy? I can go and find Steam keys right now for, like, way cheaper, right? Let's see. Steam, what is it? Steam. Let me just type in Steam keys. Steam keys free. Yeah, that's a scam. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. There was a very specific store that I used to... GG.deals, I think, is one. I think I've also heard of Instant Gaming. But, like, dude... Oh, and Hubble Games. If you guys haven't heard of Hubble Games, pretty cool. Hubble Bundle. The Humble Bundle, I think you pay, yeah, $14.99, right? And you get some crazy games. Bundles, like here. Let's see. Games. In case you guys don't know. Let me put y'all on some game here. I found this like a long time ago when I was in the military still. But you can get a bunch of games bundled every month. It's how I've gotten a lot of my games. Like last month, I believe. Last month, they had Ultra Kill in there in the bundle, and you get it for free. One of the users on the console username was, wait, what? Remote shutdown as they've threatened? Is bleeding money by just licensing to every IP in existence? Am I crazy, or can you play as Kim Kardashian in Fortnite too? Can you? Wait a minute. Is that true? Kim Kardashian Fortnite. Oh my goodness. You can. Bruh. Latex? Bro, this is a kid's game. Gloves on, gloves off. What? Latex. Kids game, by the way.
Maybe I have this entire thing wrong. I mean, we have Tim Sweeney coming out in support of the lawsuit, claiming that Steam's handling of microtransactions is unlawful and claiming that Valve is doing the same thing as Apple and Google, where those...
Okay. The biggest reason why I know Tim Sweeney is because he's always complaining about Valve.
There were lawsuits where they were both found to be handling things illegally. He compares non-transferable DLC to cars, saying that car makers provide a service too. That doesn't mean they get to dictate what you do with your car after you bought it.
Oh, is that right, Tim Sweeney? Because BMW, VW, I think Hyundai, Subaru, all these car manufacturers, Jesus, I'm like stuffy, bro, and it's like getting stuck in my nose as I'm trying to talk here. Bro, they're all doing this stuff now that where they get to dictate what happens in your car. For example, Subaru, right? You buy a brand new Subaru, $30,000 car. You are stuck with an ad on your car on the screen now because of Sirius XM. There was a story that came out like a few months ago, right? This guy went and bought a $30,000 Subaru car. Yeah? Boom. Gets free Sirius XM included for a month. Doesn't want it anymore after the free month, right? So, and then it keeps popping up saying, hey, your subscription is out. Hey, we got this sale going on. On his car. He's getting advertisements on his car. His $30,000 car, right? On the info screen, whatever. So he tries to, he calls SiriusXM and tells them, hey, stop this. I don't want this on my car anymore. Disable this. They said, okay, we need you to create an account so that way your information is now with us and we could sell it. They didn't say this, but this is what they want. So we could sell it. And then, now this is what they said. Then we can cancel the pop-up happening on your car. One, that devalues the car. Two, that makes it extremely annoying and prevents you from utilizing something in your car. And three, this is the car manufacturer with a partner dictating what you can do in your car. It is preventing you from using a function of your car as soon as you get in. Movie villain of a company. It is 100. Tesla. Yeah, Tesla does it too. I don't know about Porsche. I don't know about Porsche. But this is just such a mute point. This is such a terrible take. Look, he's getting ratioed in the comments.
Which I find especially funny coming from the CEO of Epic, because DLC on the Epic Game Store isn't transferable to any other platforms either. That analogy gets even richer when we start to remember that Epic also owns Unreal Engine 5, where simply just using the engine
oh,
means
look,
you
he
have
answered
to
the
pay
question.
them 5% in royalty fees on all revenue, including microtransactions, unless your game sells it on the Epic.
Exactly. Ferrari is one. Oh, you modify a Ferrari car? Oh my goodness, forget it. They're coming after you, bro. They like want to sue you, all this stuff. It's actually nuts what they want to do to you if you modify a Ferrari. It's getting so you can't take your car to a mechanic. You have to take it to a dealer because only... Yes, that is a problem, bro. It is a big problem.
Store, which then it finally magically disappears. Sweeney leans harder into that Apple and Google comparison, claiming that Steam's rules explicitly steer players.
They're turning cars into a service. Sorry, this is not about cars. This is about Steam. Sorry.
And force everyone to pay Valve that 30%, a comparison that immediately falls apart under any scrutiny because Apple and Google own their own operating systems, control the hardware, and were found to actively block
I don't know. We'll look that up after this video, Canadian.
Alternative stores, which Valve doesn't own Windows, Valve doesn't own Linux, though honestly I do actually kind of wish they owned Microsoft. That would actually make for a far better world. But that's the tell here. This isn't about prices. This isn't about players. This isn't even about the competition. This is about people who couldn't win. So instead, they're just trying to change the rules after they lost. I am so sick and tired of people who have no interest in the hobby invading the space and trying to ruin it. First, we had Collective Shout coming in and censoring games, getting them removed from Steam. Then we have the UK coming in with their Online Safety Act, basically destroying people's privacy. And now we have people trying to come in to kill competition.
It's craziness.
I'm all for litigation and controls around predatory practices in video games. Things like gambling, things like digital currency, stop killing games, all the stuff that's going on with Roblox as an example. But
Roblox
you can't convince me that this isn't just a one-sided attack going after Steam because they are the best available platform on the market and they're run so efficiently that it barely costs them anything to be able to run it. This is all under the guise of being anti-competitive. You know what's anti-competitive? Trying to make the fastest runner sit in a wheelchair because you want to turn the rest
Yeah,
of the
it literally
industry
comes
into
down
the
to
Special
greed.
Olympics.
Literally comes down to
The other
greed.
platforms just simply aren't good enough. Steam is just in a class of its own. We are the kingmaker. We are the one that chose them. Did these guys ever think to take the time to just ask people whether or not they even wanted to try to use other platforms or
Yeah,
try to use
literally.
other storefronts? You represent 14 million gamers. Sure, I totally believe you.
Mm-hmm.
They act as though Steam's revenue just goes into the ether. Like it just disappears. It just goes to Gabe's boat or something like that. That's definitely not the case. I mean, they have 22 themed game fests for nearly every single genre that's going to be showcasing indie games
Literally.
all across the board, and it's not going to cost any of these developers a red cent as long as they're...
I bet if you ask indie developers where's the best place to put your indie games, they're going to say Steam and probably itch.io. Those are going to be the two. It's that simple.
actually on the platform. Not to mention the absurd amount of tools and policies and protections that they have in place for their developers as well as their players. It's just... all these guys are just paying attention to the flow of the money, but they're not asking why that money is flowing. And I think that's the key to this entire conversation, because they don't actually care about any of this stuff. All they care about is the money. Notice how every single time somebody comes in and says that they're doing something for us, things always get worse. We get less choice. We get less freedom.
It's the same thing, and it's just the same thing everywhere, right? Oh, it's for the children. We're doing this for the kids. Gets worse. We're doing this for you. Gets worse. Like, brother, imagine suing Webtoon for distributing manga better than Crunchyroll. True. That'd be crazy.
And we get worse service nearly every single time. And that's exactly how this is going to go, because the one key thing that they're going to try to use as proof, the David to their Goliath in this situation, is that they caught Steam trying to protect their players.
Wow.
Horror. If any of these people
Insane.
bothered to ask
What an
users
insane
why
thing
they
to do.
use Steam, they would immediately realize that the answer has nothing to do with what they're trying to burn it down over. I use Steam because it's simply the best service in the industry. It
Literally.
feels like it was built by gamers for gamers, and you feel that in every single part of the experience. It's wildly convenient.
I keep saying it. The market standard is here. This is everybody else. And they want it lower. I keep saying it.
All my games are in one place. Modding is just checking a box, and at any moment I can see how players actually feel about a game right now, not how it reviewed 6 months ago. Imagine being disconnected from the gaming world. You see a static score, 4.5 stars or 8 out of 10, with no context, no timeline, no warning. You buy the game only to find out that a recent update completely broke it. We've seen this happen repeatedly. Games that were critically adored at launch become borderline unplayable months later, and that protects us in a way. Lets us be able to know more about these games. It protects us from wasting our money, and I guess these people just don't like that. Now, one part of the conversation
Because they're not
that we
making the
haven't
money.
touched on yet is the claim that Steam is forcing developers to avoid offering lower prices on other platforms, not just with Steam keys, but more broadly. This argument largely traces back to a lawsuit Valve is still currently dealing with right now, the Wolfire Games case that started back in 2021.
Wait, what?
In that suit, Wolfire points to communications with Valve employees, suggesting that if developers offered lower prices somewhere else, Steam could take action, including reduced promotion or even removing the game entirely from the storefront. From a legal standpoint, that's getting framed as anti-competitive behavior and in violation of anti-steering rules. Wolfire backs this up with internal emails and direct conversations with Valve, but I want you guys to pay very close attention to the language being used.
Yeah, let's see
The
it.
Wolfire suit lists emails and internal conversations that read as follows. We'll never show up and ask you to undercut your customers on other stores, and we expect you'll treat our customers with the same respect. This is a platform goal that goes beyond Steam keys. And use the threat of not promoting them or stop selling it altogether if they raise their price elsewhere or lower the price on Steam, right? Our practice is to have a conversation with the developer to understand why the price is lower elsewhere and see if we can figure out a way to get Steam's price to a similar price that it is on other platforms.
Wow.
We wouldn't be okay with selling games on Steam if they were available at better prices on other stores, even if they didn't use Steam keys. If you want to sell a non-Steam version of your game at $10 at retail and $20 on Steam, we would ask that you lower the price or stop selling the game on Steam if we couldn't treat our customers fairly.
Wow.
All right, now sure you can make the
wording that Valve used and how it's being used against them. Wow, that is some nonsense.
argument that this is anti-competitive. That's the legal framework.
Wow.
From my perspective and probably yours, this is inherently pro-consumer and honestly unfathomably based. Steam,
can you please make the price the same as it is on other storefronts if it's cheaper for our customers? No, we're going to sue you. We're going to sue you for being anti-competitive. What? Literally. What? Bro. Come on now. Come on now.
doesn't want to compete on price because, as they said in their emails, it doesn't treat the customer fairly. And they're right. Price competition is the laziest form of competition because it doesn't require you to be better. You just get to jerk the customer around. If the platform is
here, I'm gonna put out the same product, $10 here, $20 here. We're gonna punish you for using this platform instead of using this platform. Like, dude, get out of here, man.
Worse, well, you just get to cut prices and it avoids having to actually fix anything. You don't have to improve your features, your infrastructure, or your trust. You get to subsidize inconvenience and call it competition. At that point, users are not choosing a platform because it's good. They're choosing it because it's cheaper, and that's a far lower bar to clear.
Yeah.
Beyond that, the moment the price becomes the primary lever, we are the
I would actually argue that's anti-competitive.
That are being inconvenienced. We are the ones that have to pay for it. Players get pushed around. We have to juggle storefronts, fragment our libraries, and we lose out on features just to avoid feeling overcharged.
Yeah.
How exactly is that fair to us? I think what these companies are afraid of is real competition, competing on service, because if you win that way, well, now you're forced to keep earning your users, and we're the ones that stay in control, and that is definitely something that these guys do not want to have to deal with. It's way easier for them to just cut prices rather than to have to build something better, and that's why these guys keep trying to change the rules. What I find so absurd about all of this is that Valve doesn't even do any of this in practice. And even when their competitors try to undercut them on price, it doesn't even work because price cutting doesn't keep customers when the service itself is worse. Steam is just the better platform. That's why people keep choosing it. Tim Sweeney can complain about it all he wants. He can call Steam unlawful, but his own storefront proves the opposite of what he's arguing.
Literally, he does the exact same thing as Steam, except give the $100 back and take a 30% cut. That's the two differences. Oh, and he also has a worse storefront. Sorry. 3 differences.
There are tons of games that Epic gives away for free that are not on Steam for free.
Yeah. He gives away games for free every month. And you still know what? I'm still not choosing Epic games. I'm still not choosing it. I'd rather pay for the game on Steam than have it on Epic Game Store. Simple as that.
And the players still choose to buy them on Steam anyway. This came up just recently.
Because if I don't like the game, I could just return it. Less than 2 hours. I usually know by then if I like a game or not. In less than 2 hours, I could just return it. Simple as that.
With the head of New Blood pointed out that their new game Blood West sold over 200% more copies on Steam, even while it was being given away for free on the Epic.
And again, it just seems like people agree with me here with what I just said.
Game Store. Sweeney tried to cope in a response saying gamers and developers win by having more options and better deals, but the growth charts do not back that up. Epic's own numbers show that while its users have tripled over the last 7 years, third-party revenue, games people are actually buying, has only grown by 1.6%. Even free is not enough to overcome a worse service.
Wow.
People will always choose the better platform when they're allowed to, and that's exactly what lawsuits like this threaten. The entire case that they built around it is this idea that Steam is somehow responsible for higher prices, but what do they actually expect to happen? That the prices are magically going to drop? We already have standardized pricing across the industry. Do they think that Ubisoft, Microsoft, EA, or anybody else is suddenly going to start charging less for their games while they're also openly pushing for $100 games? Of course not. They're just going to pocket the difference, and we're going to get nothing. Now, you could argue that this helps smaller developers, and sure, I would go ahead and agree with you on that. That's less money to a middleman and more money to the creator and more games for us, but that's the optimistic version that almost never actually plays out in reality. Prices are going to stay the same or keep rising, and the only real outcome is an industry punishing one of the few platforms that goes out of its way to work for us. And that's exactly what Steam does. Yes, they've been litigated into changing some of their behavior over the years, but compared to the rest of the industry, they have consistently taken the high road almost every single time. Steam is the only major platform with a no questions asked refund policy. They force developers.
You know how many games that I buy just to try out and then just return, and I don't even have to give a reason? Game info, nothing clicking on it just launches the game. Yeah, there's no metadata. That's like Steam offers. Like I could go to Steam right now. Bam. How long have I played? When did I last play Mega Bong? February 1st. How long have I played it? 18.5 hours. How many achievements? 73 out of 139. Like, dude. And then look, oh, I have all of the stuff right here. Support, guides, discussion, community hub, Christmas patch. I have everything that I could want right there, right in front of my face.
To honor their deadlines on season passes and DLC so their customers don't get rug pulled. They offer family sharing so you're not rebuying the same game 5 times for a single household.
Oh yeah, this Steve family thing, dude. Oh, it's massive.
They banned in-game ads while everybody else was rushing to go and
literally
ways to inject them into video games. And they banned crypto and blockchain games outright because they knew it would put their customers at risk.
Yeah,
none of this is accidental. None of it's
I also think Valve banned those games for to save their own butts as well. Because let's say you buy a game that has this crypto whatever in it, right? I don't know why you would, but whatever. Let's say you do. Well, then the game turns out to be complete dokey, and then you get rug pulled. Well, now you could sue Steam for hosting that. And I think Steam foresaw that and was like, we're not going to handle that. So we're just going to go ahead and ban that. Because it also protects them, but it also protects you.
Universal. Epic Store doesn't protect any of their users from this. They openly criticize Valve for doing so. Epic went all in on crypto. They have no problem with ads. Their refund policy can take days, and that's assuming that it ever actually gets approved at all. And more recently, Tim Sweeney has argued that players don't even need to know whether or not a game used generative AI, something that Steam explicitly discloses to their users by default.
Yeah, he got like flamed on Twitter, bro, for saying that. He said like, "Oh, we don't really need the Gen AI disclosure," because I think Epic Games now has Unreal Engine 5. Hold on, Unreal Engine 5 has AI tools baked in. I think now baked in. Let's see. Yes, it includes AI tools baked directly into the editor, most notably the in-editor AI assistant. I don't know what that means. This feature allows developers to ask questions, generate C++ code, or follow step-by-step guidance without leaving the Unreal editor, enhancing onboarding and productivity. So, and I think because the Unreal Engine 5 now has baked-in AI tools, I think now the games that use Unreal Engine, I think they have to disclose that there was some sort of AI used in the games. And just because they use Unreal Engine, I think. And I feel like that's part of the reason why Tim Sweeney wants that disclosure gone. Because he knows how people are, how black and white they are with the AI topic.
Standing Steam builds rules to protect their players, and everybody else is just complaining that those rules are getting in the way of making money. That's why I believe that this entire thing, whether it's the litigators, Tim Sweeney, the other competitors,
it's all set up.
All they're trying to do is just use outside forces, use outside litigation to try to regulate their competitor rather than actually trying to compete with them.
Yeah.
Legal action and regulation have become the only hope that these guys have left, simply because they just don't take the time to reflect. They don't take the time to think about why people don't want to use them. Why are they losing?
Yep.
I think these guys default to the idea that Steam must be doing something underhanded because it's the only thing that they know.
Oh.
I think that these companies and outside investors are doing whatever they can to try to pressure Steam and put them into a weakened state. Not only because it gives them an opportunity to hopefully steal some of their customers, but also I think it's because they're hoping that it might make Valve loosen their grip on how they protect their players, and also just the quality of service that the platform has by itself. If they make,
isn't that crazy? Like they would rather you have a worse experience than rise to meet the standard. Think about that. Think about that. But great video. You guys should. I've watched his videos before on the channel. Great channel, Legendary Drops. You guys should 100% go check out the video. He makes great videos. He does. He does a lot of good in investigations and stuff. So, all right. What was the one thing that I wanted to check out here? What is it? They were at least. I don't know what happened. Okay, yeah. So that.